So let's have a recap about what we saw today. And overall, in the view and modeling menu options, we saw what are relationships, measures, columns, table, type of a column change, format of the column change, categorizing a column, summarization, roles, and groups. So let's take all of that one by one. Relationship. So if we have a look at it, relationships fall in the first option over here, and it shows by default these all checked relationships exist in our Power BI desktop. There are multiple things what we need to take care of. One is on clicking of them, it gives you relationship. Power BI does not allow you to have a many to many relationship. It can have one to many or many to one. And you can have the filter running both sides or on the one side of it. So if I have to tell you this customer ID is having many to one relationship to the customers table. So as you see, ALFKI customer ID is uniquely available over here in the customers table with its all details. And you have a cross filter direction as single. So in this, whenever you change the customers tables customer, the value in the invoices tables will keep on changing. If you want both direction, if the invoice table has a value which is selected something different and you want the customer table to be filtered as per your selection in the invoices table, in this case you have to keep this value as both sides and apply the security filter on both sides, and you have to say okay. So now you can now do both sides filtering. Imagine you have a master list, a parent list, and which has unique rows. For every row, there are multiple child elements in the child table. In this case, if you select a particular child in the child table, the parent would also get filtered. Whereas you select an element in the parent table, child would also get filtered. So these are the two things you have to ensure. One thing very clearly in Power BI is that you cannot have cyclic relationship. So you can't have a table filtering another table on one parameter. In this scenario, it was customer ID, and similar thing, you cannot have one more filter. So let's see if I enable this invoices table, what happens. So you cannot activate a direct active relationship between invoices and orders because it would introduce ambiguity between the tables, customers, and invoices. To make this relationship active, deactivate and delete one of the relationship. In short, what this pop-up is trying to explain is you cannot have cyclic relationship, else it would introduce ambiguity. Point number one. Secondly, you cannot have many to many relationship. So you can't have two child tables talking without having the parent tables link. And you cannot have a cyclic relationship. Table A refers filters something in table B, table B filters in something in table C, table C filters something in table A. So cyclic relationships are not allowed. Keeping that in mind, relationship can be mapped from one to many or many to one, and you can have a filter on one direction or both directions. This is all about relationships. Then we went ahead and saw adding of columns. So please remember, adding a new measure is a formula. So where will you use measure? Example, you have formula which you want to apply it over a table. For example, percentage sales per year, right? In this, you would be adding up all the rows and which would be as per for those rows which are falling in the current year. So in this case, you cannot use column. Please remember the key difference between the column and the measure over here is anything which you want to repetitively apply to every row of the table, then column will help you achieve that. If there is a formula which runs over a table, for example, sum or averages or percentages or any other formula which needs to be applied based by including certain fields, excluding certain fields. In this case, you have to use measures because measures are like a formula which you have in your Excel sheet, whereas column is more like a new value from derived from an existing column. So these are the two key differences. Adding a new table is simple. You can create your own data in the Power BI desktop. New parameter, what if scenarios. So this is an advanced what if feature which is available to you. It's a number between 1 and 20. Increment, add a slicer to the page. So when we say increment 1 to 20, default is 5, and you can call it as what if parameter, and you say okay. So as it increases, what happens? So let's move this part from here and make it here. Okay. So what is happening? Is there a change over here? No. It doesn't find a relationship in this table. So might as well we'll take that off. I will take this off.